Today we're going to install a water line for an ice maker. We have 1/4 inch water line, flexible hose. We've got 2 furrows that go into the connector. They go into the plumbing lines. These keep the plumbing lines from collapsing and leaking around the fitting itself. This is a T fitting that's good for PEX, copper, and a few other pipes. And it's got a built-in shut-off that the 1/4 inch line connects into. That would be on and then off. We also have compression nut that attaches the line to the refrigerator, and we have the furrow that goes in between, and this is what keeps it from leaking. The compression nut tightens down onto the fitting that's on the back of the refrigerator. This basically furrow goes flat end on first. I don't know if you can see, but it's tapered. It's tapered this way at an angle. So you put your compression nut on, flat end first, taper pointing towards the fitting that would go on the refrigerator. This one's going to be a pain. There we go. I usually push it on 1/4 inch or so, and then the compression nut will slide forward. This will go down into the fitting that's on the back of the refrigerator for the water line. And then you would tighten this down. It compresses, squeezes the furrow fitting to the refrigerator and makes it expand inside the fitting, and that's what gives you the seal to prevent it from leaking. They also give you with this kit, this is a union fitting. This would be maybe if your refrigerator was an extra refrigerator in the garage and you needed more than 25 feet, this would connect here. Another line would come out this side, and then you could extend it however far you needed it to extend to the refrigerator. I have PEX plumbing lines that I installed when I first bought the house, remodeled it, put all new PEX lines in it. The lines were busted because the house sat vacant for 5 years. So this is just a plastic plumbing line cutter. It can be used on PVC, PEX. If you had copper, you would need a tubing cutter. But we have PEX, so we'll get down in there, cut a cold water line, cut it like this. This is ratcheting. And we also have adjustable wrench. This will be used to tighten the compression nut down on the refrigerator. Okay, let's get started. And you also need a drill. We have to drill through. We don't have the water line connection behind the refrigerator, so we're going to drill at the back where the wall meets the floor. And we will drill a hole through so the water line can penetrate through the floor going into the crawl space. Let's go ahead and take this off the tripod. I will show you. This is the water line. This goes up and around. You can see like that's where it penetrates through the back of the refrigerator. Goes in to the refrigerator for the ice maker and water lines. This is where the compression nut, the furrow will get sandwiched basically and compressed down inside this fitting here, and then that prevents the water line itself from leaking. We will also be drilling the hole, like I said, back here into the floor so we can send the water line down into the crawl space and do the connection down there. Okay, we have connected the compression nut and the furrow into the back of the refrigerator. Like I said, this just feeds the water into there, goes up, goes around, goes inside the refrigerator. And then we also drilled a hole, 2 holes actually. The first one went into a floor joist, I believe, down into the crawl space where I will tie in to most likely the kitchen sink water line. And we will probably see if we can shove that up into the sink area to make the connection in there for the shutoff. That way we will have access without getting into the crawl space. If it should leak behind the refrigerator, we could turn it off immediately just by getting underneath the sink like you would for your shutoff for the supply lines to your sink. Whether it be a bathroom or kitchen or wherever. It will just give us easier access. We will see what we can do there with that. And now we were headed down into the crawl space to run the water line. Now we've ran the water line, which you see here, and connected it to the T. It was kind of a pain running it through the basement, but I would prefer to do it this way. That way, this is basically underneath the sink. We have drain disposals right here, and it's just here's your shutoff. I've already cut the line. This is the cold water line that is for the kitchen sink. These are the furrows that I was saying you put inside the PEX line that keeps this pipe here from collapsing. Basically, when you slide this on the T-fitting, and that will prevent it from collapsing and causing a leak later on. So basically, and then here's the shutoff. Here's the 1/4-inch line that goes to the refrigerator. We're going to put this one in the top, and you always want to push it in. It has a line right here, and that's where the stop is. You have to push the PEX line in, or copper, whatever plumbing line you're using, in, I'd say approximately 2 inches until the line stops. Otherwise, the line could work its way back out. There's little like teeth and an O-ring that keep this in place and keep it from leaking. So we push it all the way in, and it's not going anywhere. And then if you see this little retaining like clip, that is down now. It needs to be up, so you pull it back, and that locks it in place. Basically, when that gets pushed down, that allows the plumbing line to be released. So if you hold this down, usually you have to use some pliers, but that will allow you to remove this so you can separate it for whatever reason if you was working on something else. Typically, once you connect it, you're not going to need to disconnect it, but occasionally you have to. And then we've got the furrow down in this one. That just goes in there, keeps it from collapsing. Push this in. And you always want to try to push the pipe in straight in. You don't want it cockeyed or at an angle, anything like that. That can tear the O-ring inside the fitting, causing it to leak immediately or unexpectedly at a later date when you're not ready or prepared, or you're on vacation, and then your flooring gets ruined and all kinds of other damages can occur. So we basically got that in the 2 inches. Pull it back up. That separates it. And some of these have little like C-clips that go underneath this that allow that to keep from being, or actually they do not allow it to be pushed down. I would have preferred it had that. I didn't realize it didn't, but it'll be alright. And that basically concludes the underneath portion of the sink. And we should be able to turn the valve back on here. And then I've already turned the water off, obviously, in the crawl space where the main shutoff is. That allowed me to cut the water line to install the fitting. If you don't turn off the main water line, you're going to have water spraying everywhere and have a heck of a mess. So that's the first thing first. That's what you wanted to do in the very beginning, is turn that water line off before you try to tie into any of the plumbing lines, the existing plumbing that already has the water in it. So we're going to go ahead and check this and just make sure that's bottomed out. These are bottomed out, separated back. It's currently in the on position, and we're going to turn it off. Actually, that's the on position. We're going to turn that and leave it off, so that way when I turn the water on in the crawl space, it'll give me time to get up here, so in case there was a problem, loose connection, anything like that, we can address that while I turn the water on up here, and it won't be running the whole time I'm in the crawl space. Okay, we've hooked up the water lines, and we are going to run some water through it. It's already been bled out. I've cleaned up all the mess. There's plenty of dust and dirt behind the refrigerator we cleaned out. Cleaned underneath the sink. And basically, manufacturers suggest you run 3 gallons of water through it before you drink or use the ice. The ice, you need to discard the first 3 to 4 trays of it, and that will allow for any contaminants that was in the lines to be disposed of. Other than that, this concludes the water line and ice maker hookup. Thanks. Alright, this concludes the water line installation for the ice maker on our refrigerator. This is just one of the ways that we save money here on the Skidmore family farm, and we also make money by installing these types of things for customers. I do various home remodeling, bathroom renovations, kitchen renovations. All these types of things make money for us, but the biggest thing is the saving money doing it ourselves. We're all about hands-on on the farm, everything from splitting wood to a water line installation to our own remodels. But that wraps up this video for the Skidmore family farm. You guys gonna close this out? What do they need to do?
Make sure you subscribe and put the thumbs up and hit the bell so you can get all the Skidmore Family Farm channels.
Videos, yeah.
Channel videos.
Yep, they'll get all our videos. If you hit the bell, that helps get all the videos instead of just some of them. Alrighty, we appreciate you guys watching. Have a great day.